I'm Clifford Rattenbury, and I'm 95. In England, in a place called Exeter in Devon. That was in 1927. I never had a father till I was 3, but he was doing 4 years in the British Army in Egypt. So I was 4 years old nearly before I even seen my father. And it was a stranger to me. My cousin didn't have a father either because his father was killed in the wars. So I didn't find nothing unusual not having one. And so when this bloke turned up this day, all in khaki uniform, he said, "I'm your father." And who's that, Mum? Who's he? That's my first meeting with my father, Then we stayed together until 1939, which would have been 60 years after. Then the war started to sit here again. I'd never seen it again for 5 years. And by that time, I was going in the army myself. And I seen him on my first leave from the army, and he was getting demobbed. Then I got called up, Spent 6 months in England, he had to do that. Then they brought me on a boat to Egypt. And I spent 3 years in Palestine and Egypt and Palestine. It's a typical example of the British Army throwing you in the deep end. There's no fancy messing about, you know what I mean? I learned to drive a 3-ton truck in England, and 3 months afterwards I was in Egypt driving a 15-ton truck. And I turned up in Egypt and they took us to this company. And they lined us up one day and said, "That's yours, and that's yours, and that's yours." And you signed for a 15-ton truck. I never drove a 15-ton truck in my life. It's bad enough driving a 15-ton truck, but we're driving it on the wrong side of the road. That was it. I added to it. So I had some fun with that for a while. Then I got accustomed to it. I got chest out a couple of times. My biggest fault, you go around a roundabout and come back on the wrong side of the road. So you go in on the left-hand side and come in on the right-hand side. So I stuck that for 3 years. And we reached the run from Alexandria to Jerusalem, down the fire. And all over the Middle East we ran, because we were a general transport company. In the service corps, we catered everybody. If they wanted a 10-ton truck or 15-ton truck, they'd call. And it's almost like a civilian situation, really. And you weren't allowed to run around empty in them days. So if I took a load from, say, Cairo to Alexandria, when I unloaded Alexandria, I couldn't leave there without I had a load. I couldn't run empty back to Cairo again. I wasn't allowed to run around empty. So I would go to a transport office and they would find me a job, a load to take back. In 1945, there was a reissue of army trucks. And somebody come to the bright idea, what are we doing to spend all this money on trucks when we got hundreds of brand new trucks doing nothing, like the surplus from the war. And that last for a while, then they found that didn't work either. So they decided to build new ones. In the meantime, we got issued all brand new 10-ton trucks. And all these old ones are scrapped, got rid of them. And of course, he still had his old one running around, wasn't he, see? So when he turned up in camp 12 months afterwards, this truck turned up, and it was one of our old ones. I said, "What the hell is that doing running around?" Because they said it was all scrapped. And it turned out just clean. And then they had to find a way to get rid of the truck because, according to us, we didn't belong to us. We didn't have it, They wrote it off. It was gone, So they had to take it out in the desert and burn it. They had to drive miles out in the burning desert and then set fire to it and drive off and leave it, Well, when I retired, from the army, I got married, you know. And then one day I was here one day and I was reading up about Australia and I said, what about going to Australia? How do you fancy that, you know? And it's putting more and more pressure on the job she was on, which she didn't want as she was being married. Instead of being supervisor, they wanted to make her a district buyer for the whole west of England. And she would be responsible for the buying for the old stores, you know. So we thought of it one day, we put in for this. And we put in for this £10 palm something, you know. And we flew out, the first ones to fly out here on a commercial airline. Yeah, so we left England on November the 5th, Bonfire Day, 1962. And we got on the British Airlines, you know, Jumbo, and flew all the way. It's 36 hours to get to here. And 9 stops in 36 hours. And we landed in Sydney. Sydney was the international airport then. Because we sold our rice and the car and everything in England. And we landed at Brisbane, you know. So we went down to go to this hostel because we had stuff coming out from England by ship. And we had to give an address to send it. And that was the address they gave us, you see. So we went there and he said, we got there at lunchtime, so you've got to have a cup of tea. It was a church or something, and they divided up into bedrooms with like 8-foot-high partitions, you see. And I Miss sat on the bed and she looked at me and she said, you mean to say we flew halfway around the bloody world for this, you know? I said, forget it, you know. So I went and told myself we were booking out, we're not staying here, you know. After a while we decided, one night I sat talking to her, I said, I never get to see this country on holiday. It's too vast for that. I said, if you want to see this country, you've got to get out and tour around the country. You know. So that's what we decided. We bought a car and caravan and off we went. And we spent the next 8 years touring about. Got up and down Queensland twice. Yeah, and then we went down to New South Wales, so down to Sydney, and we was in Sydney there for a while. Well, eventually we got to Darwin. That would have been 69, that's right. And I said to Mr. Stick, I said, we're going to find difficult to get a place in a caravan park with a dog, see? And I said, if we're going to stay here, we should have a place for room. So anyhow, I found out of it, and I bought a 5-acre block, 21 miles from Darwin, for $3,000. That's what they were selling for in the days, 5 acres. 5 acres of like virgin bush it was. One day I was in work, I was at that time, I was a shop steward in the works department, you know. And the union looked up me one day and said, hey, I got 2 tickets to Adelaide. He says, we're having a meeting down there. He said, you want to come along? So yeah, I said, I've never been to Adelaide before. I thought about it and I told her, and Mr. Bay, you're on your own for a week. I said, nah, I don't it'll be all right, isn't it? So we went, I came down there and we went up in the hills here, you know, on the boys' place up there. They hired that. And I thought, what a difference, you know, it's another world down here. What are we doing living up there in that bloody mad Asian? So after all this rumpus, I went back home to Darwin. And I said to Missy, I said, we're living a substandard up here. I said, you wouldn't believe what it's like. There's another world altogether. So I said, well, let's go down and have a look. So we got a week off. And we went down, you come down here for a week, we was here for 3 days, and said, come on, let's go back and sell the bloody place up. So we went back and flogged that 5-acre block and everything. And came down and, you know, it's the first time in my life I was able to go and buy a house cash. Dancing, that's where 90% of couples met in their days. if you didn't ballroom dancing, you were outcast. You know, the only place you could find amigos, the decent colours, is dancing. You know what I mean? Because all the girls used to converge Saturday night to the dance hall, and all the young blokes at the same time. And funny about that was it's my mate's sister that got me up into all this. And he said, my mate said to me one day, he said, "Oh, you got a date tonight?" He said, "Can you want to come? We got to make up a foursome." Yes, there are these blind dates, capers, and anyhow, we went along to this, and then this girl that was waiting with my mate supposedly, but my mate was a bit short and she was my size. So halfway through the night, say, "Can I swap over you?" And you know, I said, "Yeah, whatever." You know. I mean, it was a casual, sort of regular thing. You know. And I said I ended up, and then I got on to met her a couple of times, and she was about 19 then at that time. I would have been 28, you know, and I remember looking at her one day and I thought, I mean, she wasn't an idiot, she had a good job. This is the point, this was confused me. She was a supervisor in Morris and Spencer, and she was in charge of 10 or 20 women that's old enough to be her mother, you know. And I said to my mate one day, I said, "How old is her?" You know, with a job like that, she must be at least 25. And it turned out she was only 19. We got married after 2 years, you know, knocked around for 2 years. And then after a couple of years, we was here one day and she found out she couldn't get children. She tried. So we thought about, you know, getting them in somebody else's kid, and I wasn't into that much. I thought, well, kids can be a pretty problem, and you don't, well, you can handle it when it's your own, but it's somebody else's kid. You know, you would have the same sort of, you would have the same patience for it. So we decided that was out. You see, when you're married and you've got no kids and you only got yourself, you're impulsive. You can do things what you like. You're not restricted. But what good do with the kids? That it's only you two. You've got to worry about yourself, nobody else. Staying married for 42 years to one woman, and I'm married to the second one for 20 years. Enjoy life while you can, because it don't last forever. That's a good. I think it's a good system what they got here. I mean, this is one of the best, you know what I mean? There's some rough ones out. And I would say the 5 years I've been here, it's been good. I moved down here and it's the best thing I've ever done, you know.